Okay, my name is Abera Girm. I am working in Wonji Shoa sugar factory in the position of civil and irrigation work division manager. I am working here from junior level to senior management level for the last 20 years. The new factory capacity is double of the old two factory. It is 6,000 ton per day cane crushing capacity. Regarding to sugarcane, annually the sugar factory has a capacity to produce 1 million quintal of white sugar. But now, from year to year, we are planning 1 million quintal of sugar per year. We cannot meet the target. For example, in this year, we are producing 635,000 quintal of sugar. It is almost 80% of our target. Last year's also similar. Before last year's, it is similar. So our target is lay in 70 to 80% of target. We cannot still meet 100% of our target. This new development has very great impact on our development. In phase 2, Wonji and BOFA area is planned. Somewhat we are in progress to construct a irrigation infrastructure, but due to very social, political, and other problems, we cannot meet that project accordingly. That project also affects our target. As a big in Sugar Corporation also planned 10 new sugar factory, both agricultural and factory. That also has a great impact on our target. In the way that there is a very great financial problem. Due to that financial problem, we are not able to purchase the required resources like fertilizer, herbicide, and other input materials according to our schedule. Due to that, our productivity of cane is reduced, then finally it affects our target. So both within the company and within the sugar company, expansion project affects our target. According to the irrigation network, there are 3 categories. The first one is the furrow irrigated land, which is owned by the state proper. The other one is pressurized irrigation system, which is owned by Outgrowers Farmer Association. The third one is hydro-flume irrigation infrastructure. It's also owned by the Outgrowers Farm. There are 5 soil classes. According to the 5 soil classes, rationing also different, fertilizer application also different. For example, the A1 soil category, which is black cotton soil, the first planting is harvested after 2 years, then the first raton after 1 year, then the second raton after 2 years, the third raton after 1 year. Then after that, it uprooted and the land is remaining as it is for 4 months. After 4 months, the land preparation activity is started. Then new planting is continued. So in A1, one planting season is 6 years. Planting 2 years, first raton 1 year, second raton 2 years, third raton 1 year. So it continue for 6 years. After 6 years, the sugarcane is uprooted and ready for the new planting activities. In A2, it is for 8 years. Then the light C1 soil cycle, it remain for remain to 10 years. After 10 years, new planting activity is conducted. The major difference is due to fertility of soil. The state-owned farm is, its fertility is very low. It needs more application of fertilizer. The Wonji one is, the soil type is very fertile. But as previously mentioned, we are put the same type and amount of fertilizer is applied in the state-owned farm and also Wonji. This is the main difference for land productivity. The second one is the system by itself makes the difference. In cultural practice, especially in application of water, in state-owned farm, we cannot manage the water application. It is similar to flooding, but the Duduta one is, it is more manageable because it is more technology system is applied. The Wonji also somewhat better than the state-owned. It is a hydro-flume, we can manage better. This one also make a difference for the land productivity. In the state-owned farmers, the company by itself arrange a rehabilitation project to rehabilitate the whole system, the irrigation, the mechanization, every system arranges the rehabilitation project. That rehabilitation project reduces or increases the land productivity by a certain amount. But we cannot continue that rehabilitation year to year. We are stopping that rehabilitation project at some period. So the problem is now also continue. That is one measure taken by the company to reduce the problem. The second one is our division also try to make some measures to reduce these problems. For example, we are trying to measure the amount of water entered to the fields. It also makes some differences, but we cannot meet our target. We are trying to line canals. By another words, we are trying to change earthen canals to concrete canals to minimize the seepage losses, and also earthen canals to hydro-flume. But this also makes some difference, but we cannot make now the target. So we are trying to make some measures in state-owned farms. Fertilizer application, we must upgrade your fertilizer application, your herbicide application, your water application. So the recommendation of the company is to improve our cultural practice, but still we cannot improve our cultural practice due to different reasons. In our state-owned farmers, water, the drainage of the farm by itself is silted up. So we are trying to upgrade our drainage facilities. That is our target. Also, we are conducting that activities, but our plan and our activity is not matched. We are not do according to our plan due to financial problem. So we cannot alleviate the problem 100%. By another words, we try to give paracetamol to our fields. The problem is continue with ours. Also, we are trying to improve by developing a checklist to follow up the cultural practice. At a certain time, we are stopping following according to the checklist. In our opinion, the center pivot irrigation systems is more productive than the others one. Because the center pivot irrigation system is less affected by human. A uniform distribution of water is applied in the sugar cane. So this center pivot irrigation system is more productive than the other irrigation system. Operational maintenance costs are different in different irrigation systems. For example, in center pivot irrigation systems, one person can manage one center pivot. In other words, one center pivot means 75 hectares. So one person can manage 75 hectares for 8 hours. In furrow irrigation systems, 1.2 hectares is managed per day per 3 persons. Look the difference. There is a great difference. That 3 persons one day, but one day 75 hectares 1%. This is operational. In regarding to spare part, the center pivot irrigation system needs almost 0 spare part. The only one, maybe in some 2 or 1 month after the tire is reduced, we fill the air. Regarding to the drag line, we broken the sprinkler head. We are trying to exchange the hose. There is very difficult to manage in drag line sprinkler. And also we are investing many Ethiopian birds, in foreign birds to purchase that infield material. So the center pivot irrigation system, operational and maintenance cost is minimum than the dragline irrigation systems. Operational cost of furrow is very high than the dragline and the center pivot irrigation systems. Regarding to water application, there is no any difference in any irrigation systems. Let's come to this state-owned systems. We can apply the water timely and required amount, and also in pressurized irrigation systems. The only problem one is application of this availability of electricity. In pressurized irrigation systems, mostly electricity are not available from the EBCO side. Due to that problem, we are not apply amount of water at a required time. But the state-owned one is we can apply the amount of water as required. There is sufficient amount of water in AWASH for our company. We can get a sufficient amount of water. But a certain months, May and June, especially May, we face a shortage of water, otherwise, we can get sufficient amount of water for our farmers. For expansion one, we are not have sufficient amount of water for expansion one. But the existing farmers, we can assure a sufficient amount of water from our. We have one weathering station in our state farmers. We are measuring temperature, both maximum and minimum, wind speed, humidity, relative humidity, and sunshine hours per day.
Okay.
But the problem is we cannot use these data for irrigation scheduling. We are trying to use the weathering data per 3 months. What about our irrigation efficiency? We are using the irrigation, the pump or the amount of water according to the weathering data. So day-to-day activity, we are not translate the data accordingly. That is the major problem. Regarding to these water measuring activities, we are trying to measure the discharge amount of water from Awash River only. In state-owned farmers, we are measuring the amount of water that is discharged from Awash, and also the data is similar. Wageti also similar, Wonji also similar. So we are trying to compare within a 3 months period this amount of water. Are you applying the water according to the weather or not? We are only compare this amount. Most probably the state-owned farm is use more waters than the required one. The other farmers are lesser amount of water is used than the required one. So we are measuring only at the input side, at the beginning side. We are not trying to measure the water within the state. We are not trying. Our company, basically regarding to this water, they are very challenging. Very challenging because starting from the assumption for or the value to give water is very less. That value, that assumption makes our effort less. Simply, the water is coming from somewhere, pass through our fields. We are trying to pump from that one. So it is a plenty, it assumes it is a plenty resource. We can use according to our desire. This is the assumption. But if we give the value to that water resource, if you give the value to water resource, we are trying to create some measuring structures, some means to improve that amount of water. Simply, the first one, the cost is very minimum, so we can pay for any amount of water. We are discharging many amount of water from Awash River. That amount of water is not using for sugarcane. It also loss through seepage, loss through misuse of human person. We are also paying, because due to its payment is less, we are paying. So if we are paying, the assumption is we can use any amount of water. So this is a very challenging problem. That is why we are not planned to measure our water productivities.
Mm-hmm. No.
This is one challenging in our company.